Okay, Jets fans, it's a little different vibe this week. It is a different week entirely, is it not? That said, here we are. We're still here. We're still alive. We are at 1-1. The season is young, and there's lots to discuss. Welcome to episode 131 of GreenBean's Jets Pod. I am Green Bean. Welcome to the podcast here. I'm happy you're here. I am. I'm happy that so many of you get to hang out with us or choose to hang out with us on the live streams currently on the Talkin' Jets channel on YouTube. We had a nice crew. We had work to do. We had to keep some people's heads above water a little bit there for a little bit. But, hey, man, it's tough. It's a tough gig being a Jets fan, and it feels like it's never ending. Doesn't it, guys? Doesn't it feel like it's just never ending? What do I say? What do you say to a thing? We got the new thing. We got the new things. We got the other guy. We got this one, and it's still the same stuff. Pain, loss, confusion, disappointment, hope sprinkled on there. You can barely taste it sometimes. You can barely taste the hope. But look, here we are, man. So the 2 weeks of the 2023 NFL season are finished for the New York Jets. We are now 2 weeks into the season. We stand at 1-1. We had an emotional September 11th victory on Monday Night Football against the division rival Buffalo Bills. Followed that with a somewhat demoralizing loss down there in Dallas to a high-flying, very excited team in the Cowboys, But so, look, we have some positives. They're hard to find, but they're there. And we have some negatives, and we have some legitimate concerns, man. We have some concerns. Now, being episode 131, we like to do a player profile. The truth is that our current player wearing number 31 is on the practice squad, one Craig James. We humorously talked about him all offseason. He was the guy who got burned on the very, very famous Brownlee one-handed grab in training camp. But there's not much else to talk about. Craig James is a journeyman guy. He's on our practice squad, cornerback. And that's what it is. So we don't need to dig into too much. We could talk about guys like Antonio Cromartie or Aaron Glenn. We could. Got some real nice 31s. I like to bring up Lonnie Young all the time. Very few people remember him with me. I loved Lonnie Young. Safety that we got from the Cardinals, I believe, back in the 90s. Very, very good. Big hitter. So we don't have to dig too much. Craig James, everybody. Craig James. All right. Craig James, bitch. There it is. So, look, we go into this game, and the emotional kind of outpouring, whether it be from the just incredibly uplifting Aaron Rodgers American flag entrance into the darkened MetLife Stadium, all the LED lights are going off and the fireworks and everything, and it was like so good, such a high that I was finding myself having difficulty breathing. I was like, guys, I don't know. I was so excited. Moments later, he's out. We hope it's only a sprain. You come back in the second half, all that stuff. We find out that it's gone, that he's gone, that it's an Achilles tear. And the team emotionally gathers their wits for an amazing comeback victory over the Bills. Super high again. So high, low, high. And then we got to kind of go into this week. Now we're hearing Aaron Rodgers has a super crazy procedure, right? He's going to come back. Oh, my God. The storylines, it's the ups and downs. It's an emotional roller coaster. But it boiled down to really one thing. We went into this game hoping that the guy that most of us lost hope in, Mr. Zachy Poo Wilson, was going to be a legitimate NFL quarterback. It's all we need. We talk about things like, dude, all we need Zach to be is top 20, and we got a shot in this for this season to do something special. It's a formula the Jets have actually relied upon before. Namely, The 2009-2010 Jets with Mark Sanchez, I mean, they did a lot around him to protect him. Now, the thing is, Mark Sanchez, while he made significant, boneheaded moves that destroyed games, number one turnover guy in the NFL, all those kinds of things. The truth is that he's never looked as lost as Zach Wilson has during his short NFL career with us, right? So it's difficult, but running game, defense, that's what we relied upon. The big difference for the Jets then and the Jets now is the offensive line, and that'll be the first thing that we talk about. It was a concern all offseason. While I'm a Joe Douglas supporter, and I think he's just done a miraculous turnaround with this organization. I mean, you can't deny it. When he got here, we were a laughingstock. I mean, a clown show. Now we talked about Super Bowl contenders, right? So that's a big flip. It's a big difference. But man, oh man, all the attention he's given to the offensive line, and he's done it. I mean, 2 first-round picks, at least one, but 2 offensive linemen drafted every year. Whether it's Max Mitchell, Carter Warren, but the Cam Clark, guy get paralyzed, almost paralyzed. Thankfully, he got healthy, and now he's on our coaching staff. But you look at this, it's like no matter what we do, it just doesn't seem to land. And this year, I thought more focus should have been placed on the offensive line. That's the truth of it. I was very unhappy with the kind of passive, let's say. Passe? I think that's what I was shooting for there. Laissez-faire approach to the offensive line, putting a little bit too much stock into a 39-year-old Dwayne Brown who's injured. I think you got to have better insurance for that, and we saw why today. So we get this offensive line. You got Aaron Rodgers, everything okay. So we got a lot of potential on the offensive line. Pro Bowler Laken Tomlinson, Pro Bowler Dwayne Brown, even though they're on the older side. You get Connor McGovern as a stalwart, maybe not great, but kind of in middling, average, solid, right? AVT, potential All-Pro, Mekhi Becton, question mark, but the talent, nobody questions. It's just whether or not he can stay healthy. But he's playing on a different side that he's never really played to any, for any length of time. So, especially he hasn't done it in years. Let's just say it that way. He hasn't played in 2 years. There's lots there. But man, so there's potential. If everything falls in the right place, great. But that's not the Jets. Then nothing falls in the right places for us. We have problems. We saw it last year with all the injuries to the tackles. I thought this year they would come back and ensure that never happens again. Now, we brought on Billy Turner. We drafted Carter Warren. We bring on Wesley Snipes and whatever the hell his name is. I can't remember his name. What's his name? Wes. Geesh. Schweitzer. Wes Schweitzer, right? So we bring on some guys, but it's kind of like that. It seems like a bargain approach. And I thought that we should have done more. Now, they tried with Orlando Brown, we heard, and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know. It just seems like something we could have solidified. So it's a knock right now, because let me tell you something. In this game, you saw it. You saw it. Dwayne Brown. Now, you can say that, hey, he's just coming back from injury and all that. Dude, Dwayne Brown looked like he is done to me. He looked like he was incapable of competing with top flight NFL defensive linemen. That's what it looked like to me today. Now, the fact is the Jets only had 3 sacks. So Zach only got sacked 3 times today. But it sure as hell didn't feel like that. So they got to him 3 times. But the pressure and the run game, and they dominated our offensive line today. Now, it's sad to say that also spread all the way through it. AVT was beat today. Becton was beat today. Laken was beat today. Connor McGovern was beat today. They were all beat. So it's not all Dwayne Brown, but just being out front as the left tackle, he had problems all day. And I don't know what we're going to do about that. Something has to be done. People are saying, bench him. Well, what's the solution? What's the solution? You put Becton over there, you put Billy Turner at right tackle. Is that what you're going to do? I don't know. I guess it's a shot. Billy Turner didn't look great in the preseason. I don't know. Max Mitchell was inactive today. So, or for the game this week. I know you're not hearing it today, but so the last game. So it's like, there's still options. We have some young guys on deck, right? We got Tippmann. He can play guard. If Laken Tomlinson keeps acting up, Tippmann maybe can come in. You got Wes Schweitzer. Maybe he's an upgrade. You got Max Mitchell. If you're going to move Becton and bounce Dwayne Brown back, you activate Max Mitchell, put him on the right side, or you Billy Turner, whatever. But so there's some options. But Max Mitchell, Carter Warren when he gets healthy, Joe Tippmann, we have guys on deck. Maybe they're not quite ready yet, but they're there. So there's that. But we need something right now, or else this season's going to go down the toilet. Because let me tell you a little secret that we learned today. Zach Wilson was about as poised and as confident and, dare I say, effective as we've seen him. Now, obviously, you look at the box score and you say, oh, my God, 1 touchdown, 3 picks. It's the same old Zach. It's not really the case. And this is when we talk about these box scores, and these number games. There's a story behind the box score. Zach was chased all over the place. He was betrayed, quite frankly, on numerous occasions, even by Breece Hall dropped 1. Garrett Wilson dropped 1. Guys were falling down. Garrett Wilson fell down on 1 play. And, it's not to say Zach was perfect, but I think he did enough through the first 3 quarters and change. And then it just, the bottom fell out, right? And you can't ask, if we're talking about Zach Wilson, we need him to be top 20. That's all we need. If you're the 18th ranked quarterback, dude, we're good, okay? We can't have the 32nd ranked quarterback. Can't have the 31st ranked quarterback. If we have the 18th, we're fine. You can't take that guy in his first start of the season after last year's debacle and say, we need you to win the game. We're down by 17 in the 4th quarter. We need you to win. It's just not going to work because what happens? The very, very effective Dallas Cowboys defense pinned their ears back. So we know they got to pass. We're going to kill them, and they did. And our offensive line, led by Dwayne Brown, was incapable of stopping him. Or stopping them. I say him. You know why I say that? Because friggin' Micah Parsons, I swear I thought that we were just letting him back there. He was in our backfield all day long. All day long. And while most of it was over Dwayne Brown, it wasn't just him. He beat everybody. I think they had some fun and moved him all the way down the line and said, just go against everybody and beat him. And he pretty much did. So something's going to have to be done because Zach Wilson, while he came out, he looked confident. He threw a beautiful touchdown pass. He had a couple really nice throws today. And he had those runs in the 2-minute drill going into the half. The guy, we tell him all the time, he's running around like a maniac. Just run forward. And we got something, man. We got something. And he was doing that today. There were 3 consecutive runs where I think 2 of them were for first downs. So, the guy was doing all he could. And in my opinion, he was among the top 3 games that he's ever played for the New York Jets up until the bottom fell out. And that's the shame. Because the defense, while they didn't have their best game, did enough too to keep us into it. They did. And quite frankly, we'll get into the refs for a second. I don't know what the hell was going on. I don't know what the refs are seeing. The roughing the passer penalties at the end were hot garbage. I don't care. I watched them numerous times. I watched them after the game. I don't see it. I don't know what's happening, especially when they're not calling it the other way. That's what I'm going to say. Especially when they're not calling it the other way. I'm going to give you guys a stat. Now, this was given to me today by Finnegan in the Beanbagger after show, where we get together after every game and we have a private little Zoom room where we hang out in and we get to either celebrate. Today it was a lot of commiserating, but we find our way to laughter and some, we help each other out, and it's great. If you want to join the Beanbaggers, by the way, the link is in the description, and you can come and hang out with us after every game, among other things. But Finnegan gave us a stat today, and it's going to blow your friggin' mind. And I know that on some level you already kind of know this, but I'm going to point it out to you. 635 days straight, the Jets have not received a roughing the passer penalty. We have not been we have not drawn, let me say that. We have not drawn a roughing the passer penalty. In this day and age, where we saw numerous roughing the passers called against us today that were complete horseshit that, quite frankly, gave the Dallas Cowboys a touchdown before the half. They insisted. No, we insist. You must have this touchdown. Our defense did all they could, and they played their asses off, and they were playing hard, and they were effective that drive. They gave them the touchdown. Yeah, how many times can you stop it, right? You can't stop somebody forever. You can't. 635 days. The Jets have not drawn a roughing the passer. That's over 20 games. Meanwhile, we have seen Zach Wilson as recently as last week at helmet to helmets, low hits, late hits. We see it all the time. They will not throw a flag for that kid. The last roughing the passer, and I might be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure the last roughing the passer that Zach Wilson drew was when they took his face mask. I think it was against, who was it? The Texans. And they pulled it all the way. His head went almost backwards like an owl. His face mask was over here. That was, they couldn't not call that. That was the last one. That was 2021. We are in the 2023 season. So I'm not blaming the refs for this loss. I'm not. But they certainly didn't help. They didn't help. Now, the defense, there's a lot of comments out there. Oh, I thought we were this. I thought we were that. The defense is good. We have a damn good defense. Now, did they play to their top game? No. We also lost guys. At one point, we had Michael Carter II, our nickelback. We had Jordan Whitehead and Tony Adams. So we had two safeties and a nickel corner out of the game. Now, Jordan Whitehead came back. I don't know what's going on with the other guys just yet when I'm recording this, but it's not good. It's tough, but they played. They kept us in the game for the most part. The problem really boiled down to two things. Our offensive line, like I discussed, and I'm going to get into the next thing. I don't understand, once again, what it is with our offensive play calling that we cannot figure out how to accentuate whatever strength is there and to mitigate or protect and cover our weaknesses. If I asked 100 Jets fans which side of our defensive line our offensive line was weakest, at least 99 of you, I would be willing to bet 100% of you are going to say the left side of our defensive line is weakest. That's Dwayne Brown and Laken Tomlinson. They've had troubles going into last year and definitely the first 2 weeks of the season. We ran the ball to the left side consistently today, and we saw it get blown up time and time again. Why aren't we running to Becton and AVT? Hell, even throw Ruckert over there. He's clearly a fierce blocker. Those three together, but if not, just AVT and Becton, those two guys together can positively collapse the entire defensive line, giving the running back an actual chance. Why aren't we utilizing that? We didn't. I thought the play calling was unimaginative, fear-based a lot of the time. And like I said, was kind of disconnected from the reality of our team. There's almost like a forcing of it. So Hackett has some work to do. Now, maybe without Aaron Rodgers, he's a little bit lost. Who the hell knows what it is, but he needs to get his head on straight because that is a huge disadvantage. When our offensive unit cannot get first downs because of, and you look at the play calling, it's like you can see it, telegraph, just the whole thing running to the weaker side of our team. And it's failing. It makes sense that it's failing. Now let's look at this interesting stat. Go into that said box score. We'll start with the time of possession so we can give you perspective here. All right. Out of a 60-minute game, the Dallas Cowboys had the ball 42 minutes and 15 seconds. The Jets had the ball 17 minutes and 45 seconds. That is grossly disproportionate, right? Can't do it. But listen to this. You would think that it was like there was a lot more opportunities. No, the Cowboys had 12 drives. We had 11. So we had just about the exact same amount of opportunities at the end with the turnovers, whatever. But it's because they had the last, and it's really what it is. They had the ball the last time. They had it first and they had it last. So that's where you get the 12 versus 11. They had 12, we had 11. Same amount of opportunities. We couldn't get a damn first down. And to give you that perspective, we had 10 total first downs today. And some of those came, 4 of them came on that one drive before the half. They had 24 first downs. 24-10. You see it? So and again, yes, our defense, you can definitely point fingers and you can say this and that. They weren't as good here, but they held us in the game. Bend, don't break. They load all the field goals versus the touchdown. There's lots of positives you could put on that. If the offense was able to get, another 50% worth of first downs, that might have given the defense the opportunity to catch their breath and come out and be more effective. This is the 2022 late season formula. This is what we had. This is what we saw. And it sucks because Garrett Wilson was out there running around, open. Zach Wilson was playing well. But the results are identical. 10 points, 1 touchdown the entire day, 10 first downs out of 11 drives. That means it's like, I don't know how to do that math. I wanted to say it's only 1 drive with a first down. It's not exactly that. But it's how many drives we didn't even have it's up in 3, down in 3. So the defense does a stop. And we come up 3 plays, punt it, and the defense is back on the field. You can't do it. And you could see it. That pretty much the entire second half, but the fourth quarter in particular, the defense was toast, gassed. They had 0 left, nothing. And Dallas was having a party. That's what happens. That's what goes on. And they're running the ball for 8 to 10 yards a clip, and you know what I mean? It's just the way it is. And that's what we saw. So here's the thing. You need to fix some things. Interestingly enough, while I do think the end of the game, Zach totally regressed and you saw like the kind of the deer in the headlight eyes, you started to see that stuff. It's unfortunate because the kid played well. Maybe my bar is low, right? And I think it should be. It should be low. Again, we're talking about wanting a top 20 quarterback. That's all we want. If you're number 20, 19, we're good, man. I think he played well enough. But you look at the box score, 1 touchdown, 3 picks, 38.8 quarterback rating. It looks like hot garbage because the end of the game, again, pinning their ears back. They're putting it on his shoulders. He can't do it. So Breece Hall had 4 rushes today for 9 yards, a paltry 2.3 yard average. A little different than his 12.7 last week. But he did have a 9-yard run. Why we got away from that so quickly, I'm not exactly sure. The abandonment, he talked about it in his presser. He said, well, what happened? We thought he might have been hurt. Nope. Zach Wilson led our team with 5 rushes. Breece had 4. Michael Carter had 2. Dalvin Cook had 4. And Ashton Davis had the very exciting fake punt. It was amazing. I mean, the fake punt was about the only real balls we saw the whole day. I thought when, for momentum shifting purposes, I thought that was a big one. I thought it was a great call. It was a gutsy call. I loved the call. I approved the call. As a matter of fact, I called the call before it. I jokingly said, just snap it directly to Demario Davis, playing around with Ashton Davis. And they did it, and I lost my marbles. But what did we do? 3 plays later, it was a punt. So it didn't matter. And that's the difference in the game. When you can't move the ball, again, it doesn't matter that Zach played well, considering. And I think that if the line protected and the drops and the slips and the falls, and if all that didn't happen, maybe it's a different story. But at the end of the day, we're exactly the same as last year. 10 points, 1 touchdown, defense gassed, game out of control at the end of the game. That's what we saw today. So you look at this, guys. You look at the whole thing. We have a few things to really consider. 1, Hackett needs to really do some work this week. And you got to focus on where your strengths are. The whole Dalvin Cook, Breece Hall. Dude, Breece Hall versus Dalvin Cook, there's no comparison between those two running backs. None. Quite frankly, I don't know how much gas that Dalvin Cook has left. He's Dalvin Cook. He doesn't look that great to me. Now, it's early. He's new to the offense. Who knows? But Breece Hall needs to get some carries. And if it's 10 carries a game, it's 10 carries a game. But 4 ain't going to cut it for arguably our best player on offense. He's up there. He's in the conversation. And you got to have that ball in his hands. You got to have the ball in his hands. And hey, while you're at it, maybe we should run it behind the stronger side of our offensive line. Give him a chance. We saw it break for 80+ last week. So, it's going to be tough. I don't know how rigid Hackett is in his thinking. Is he LaFleur? Is he one of these guys that's just going to force the issue? And if that's the case, Saleh needs to sit down and talk with him. This is Saleh's team, and he needs to be talking about that kind of stuff. Hey, buddy, there's a clear difference here. While we're getting these guys up to snuff, these guys are ready to go. Run the ball behind them. Let Mekhi Becton clear the road. That's how it has to be. Now, moving that to Saleh. Saleh has some real decisions to make, man. We know Saleh is not an impulsive guy. He's not just going to overreact. He doesn't do that. We saw it numerous occasions. The top of the heap is with Zach, how long he kept Zach in there last year. He's got some decisions to make about Dwayne Brown and Laken Tomlinson. You got Mekhi Becton, you can slide him over. You got Max Mitchell and Billy Turner that can play right tackle. I argue that neither one of them are going to be as inefficient as Dwayne Brown is on the left, and I think Mekhi Becton's fine over there. Potentially dominant over there. So, we got some discussions. Laken Tomlinson, I know you're paying him a whole bunch of money, but if he's a sieve, you stuff Tippmann in there. And if you want to move McGovern over there and put Tippmann at center, I don't care. But this, we got to pay attention. We can't just wait. But I think it's going to be a couple weeks at least. He's going to give those guys a chance to get their heads out of their asses. That's what I think. And I think it might be a fool's errand. Who knows? Maybe not. Maybe they come around. We look, they have storied NFL careers, both of them. They're good NFL players, so who knows? But Laken's going on year 2 of disappointment with us. Dwayne Brown, injury. Hey, he's got excuses. Maybe. I don't know. But he's also 40 years old. Okay? I don't know. 40-year-old offensive linemen, they're rare. So we have big decisions to make there. Now, as far as this quarterback thing that they're playing and dragging their feet with, you got to get somebody in here. We can't have something happen to Zach and go with Tim Boyle, in my opinion. It just can't be. It can't be. Whether it's Chad Henne or whoever the hell it is you want to bring in, Colt McCoy, I don't care. Bring them in. Because Tim Boyle, and Zach's getting killed. He's getting hit all the time. He's getting pressured. He's running around. He's getting sacked. All those things, he's not going to make it. You can't have the whole team depending on Tim Boyle, in my opinion. So we have some big decisions to make. That said, guys, I am not out on this team. I'm not. I think there's talent everywhere. We got beat today. And here comes my excuse, right? There's an excuse. I talked about it a few minutes ago. The emotional hangover of this, and it's a short week on top of it. I think that had something to do with some of the lackluster performance, that not quite as crisp look that we had on defense. It's real. Now we got the full week. You come home, you're playing at home. The Patriots are coming in. You're pissed off over last year, division opponent. You take care of business. The only problem with that is we've seen what Bill Belichick has done to Zach Wilson. You just don't put it all on Zach. You just let him play within the system, and you play smart, and you can beat this damn team. I'm watching him right now. 10-0 to the stinky Dolphins. Okay? There you go. So I'm rooting for the Patriots to win this one. It breaks my heart, but it is what it is. Chad Ryland's about to go back for his first career field goal attempt. Let's see what happens here while I'm doing this. Let's see. This is when I'm filming it. 49-yarder with a red football, and he makes it. Look at that. Chad Ryland, everybody. with a red football. Is that really red? Why did they do that? Was it really a red football? I got to look into this later. I don't know what the hell I just saw. Look at all these Pats fans just eating dinner during the game. They don't care. The worst fan base ever. I hate everybody. Maybe they're Miami fans. Yeah, they look that looked like the inside of Sun Life. That's the stadium. That's what it was named when I used to go there. Hard Rock Stadium. Yeah, so they're all eating dinner. They're the most fair weather fan bunch on the whole planet, in the whole league. I'm telling you, I lived there for 15 years. I know it well. I hate Miami. I hate the Dolphins. I hate them. I hate them all. We're going to beat the Patriots next week. Mark my words. It's going to happen. This is going to be a kicking, clawing, scrapping season. It is. We lost the linchpin of the whole thing. At least for a couple more weeks. Who knows when he comes back? If he does, who knows? But it's going to be a tough one, guys. But the season's not over. We're 1-1. We're right there in the division. We're 1-0 in our division. We got a division opponent coming into our house this week. We're right there. We beat them. Everything's cured. It's going to be an up and down season. We lost Aaron Rodgers. It's going to be confusing. We got to reset. Zach Wilson wasn't supposed to start yet. All those things. All things considered, he played okay. And if he just can bring that, if he didn't lose his confidence, now it's up to the coaches and the team to keep him up. Dude, it wasn't you. It wasn't you. You lost control there at the end of the game. You regressed, you reverted, fine. Put it behind you. Let's move on. Let's go beat the Pats for the first time in your career. That all said, guys, I hope you have a great week. It's going to be a good week. Enjoy what we did have. I'll tell you what. Garrett Wilson didn't get hurt at the end of the game. It was only a little bit of wind knocked out of him. Garrett Wilson's a beast. And that's the good news. That all said, take care, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. And as always, go Jets.